100 years time, if our bones are dug up, they're going to identify us by our structure of our pelvis. You're either going to be a man or a woman, and whatever you think you were back when you were alive is no longer existing in anyone's mind in the future.
So what are your thoughts about what's happening in schools in terms of, they're teaching, sex ed and all that, which I think, that's always been around. But then you have these drag queen shows. And what does actually the word drag mean? You actually told me this and I thought this was really interesting. I actually have no idea, and supposedly I'm the one of languages, Yeah.
So drag is dress representing another gender.
Right.
That's how the word came in.
Okay.
It's about performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I've been sent all these videos and I've seen them through, and this is, around the world, within America, Australia, and I think there was one in New Plymouth here where they were at a library and they're basically doing, a strip show. They're just, half naked and they're literally throwing money at them and they're throwing dildos and they're, playing with kids in their kids' faces and things like that. What are your thoughts about that?
So, drag is such a... It's such a wide range thing today. It's been sexualized so much. When we grew up with drag, we grew up with Mrs. Doubtfire and Big Mama's House and White Chicks. You know, that's drag.
Yeah. That's
dress representing another gender.
Yeah.
But when it comes to doing it in schools and stuff like that, if they want to bring drag into it, they need to be thinking about what content is appropriate for the audience. Sexualizing certain things and bringing kinks into it's got nothing to do with the LGBT community. It's got nothing to do with drag themselves. They're individual kinks, and they can come. Anyone can have those.
Yeah.
You don't even need to be part of the community.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's so much, I think, especially if we're talking 6 to 10-year-olds. This is not even they're just getting into school. We're not even talking about teenager years. Yeah. They're actually, interested in obviously exploring their sexualities versus kids that are just barely speaking the language first, right? It's pretty nuts to think that they're just getting exposed in that sort of way, isn't it?
Yeah. There's exploring sexuality and then there's sexualizing it. There's the two different things. In my perception anyway. I don't think we should be sexualizing children or bringing anything that's going to sexualize anything into that audience. I find it inappropriate.
Yeah. And what was that one thing you mentioned, how that we've been either a man or woman, we've been formed into two bodies, but then the gender roles are something else altogether. You were mentioning before.
We have man and woman, and then we do have intersex, which is the term that they don't like, hermaphrodite, or which is they are born that way. But when it comes to man and woman, when we're dead, our identity, what we think we are today, isn't going to matter. In 100 years time, if our bones are dug up, they're going to identify us by our structure of our pelvis. You're either going to be a man or a woman, and whatever you think you were back when you were alive is no longer existing in anyone's mind in the future. So whether it's that important today, I'm not really sure. Identity is it's an inner thing. It's an inner process. It's working out who you are. I went through it hard when I was coming out of high school. I knew I was different. I knew I was born in the wrong body. Clearly a masculine. And when I went to go into transitioning, because it started to become acceptable and marriage became legal in 2014, and it was becoming normalized as such, so I started to go through that transitional period. And when I discussed it with my mum, and she was not as okay with it as I thought she may have been, she pretty much turned around to me and just said, you need to learn to love yourself. So my next years of my life I spent learning to love myself, finding my worth as a being, loving the fact that I was born in a different body, that I was, you know, potentially born in the wrong body, but it doesn't matter because it's still who I am. I'm still a masculine with feminine genitalia, you know. It doesn't matter, really, you know. It's just acceptance of myself. It's just who I am. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing I can do about it. It just is, you know.
Yeah, and really good point that you brought up as well in terms of the two hormones that we have. We don't have more than that, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Testosterone. We're either driven by testosterone or estrogen.
Yeah.
That's just
how it is.
Fact.
Just,
yeah.
Even throughout the animal kingdom, eh? I mean, that's the way I've always looked at it too. It's like, okay, I guess, you know, we're another whole species of living. But I mean, if we look at the animal kingdom, like, there's just always been the two species, right? They've always had. I mean, we don't know to a level. Maybe there is. I've seen how the dogs hump each other and that sort of thing. That are still male and stuff, right?
Cows certainly, you know, just like homophobic actions.
Yeah. So like
homosexual actions.
Yeah. So I believe, I don't know. It's quite an intense topic when it comes to all the different explorations and Is there anything else you want to add in there while you're there, or?
I don't think so.
No?
Yeah. I don't think so either. No. All I have to say about the whole thing is try and learn to love yourself. Who you are is perfect the way you are. Always. Yeah. You know? I'm perfect the way I am. My wife's perfect the way... You're perfect the way you are.
Thank you.
It doesn't... You don't have to change anything, you know? You already are how you're meant to be. You know, it's just learning to accept that and love that and strive from it, really.
Learning to love and accept the energy that you are inside the body that you have.
Embrace that difference, you know, with myself being the masculine energy with the feminine body. Embrace that fact that I've got masculine energy in the feminine body, you know, make it a thing to be proud of. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't,
doesn't
you know,
mean you have to physically change yourself.
Yeah. I could have changed myself. I could have done the whole transition thing, but I learned to love myself. And that was just so much better for my mental health. You know, if I didn't learn to love myself, I would have still had body dysmorphia. Which is considered a mental illness, you know. Body dysmorphia is huge and it's real, you know, but you can learn to love yourself and heal that part of you, you know.
And body dysmorphia isn't just for transgender people. There are people who are born female, who identify as female, have body dysmorphia. Born male, identify as male, total body dysmorphia.
Anorexia, you know, anorexia
is a type of body dysmorphia.
People that suffer with anorexia nervosa and bulimia and stuff, they all suffer with body dysmorphia, and it's considered a mental illness then. You know, and what you do with it is you've got to heal your inner self. You know, it's not easy, and it is a fight against yourself because you're thinking that you're not lining yourself up with your body and your energy, but when you learn to love yourself, you're bringing it together as one. You know.
Awesome. Thank you. I love it. Thank you. No, I appreciate just the honesty and the fluidity of what you believe in and what you think is your truth. You know, it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it's certainly it's definitely a sensitive subject, and you know, people are going to relate or they're not. You know, and the ones that it's going to relate to, they're going to take something from it. You know, if it doesn't, it just is. That's your journey. It's part of your life. If you know, if transitioning is your journey, that is part of it. You know, it's part of your human experience, and that's okay. You know, if turning around and learning to love yourself is part of your human experience, and that's what you're going to do, and that's okay too. You're not wrong or right in either way. It just is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All good in the hood, man.